very special guest for you tonight.
Hello, we've been expecting you.
This is not a test. Your government and corporate overlords have implemented new measures for your own health and safety. We are just following orders.
Everything is going to be fine.
I'd like to introduce...
Welcome everyone to another If by Whiskey. I've got co-host Jake, I've got good friend Brent, and before we do that, before we start anything else, I just want to share my screen because I just got this cool email. Everybody needs to come to Freedom Fest. Freedom Fest 2026 is coming. I know Brent's coming. I know Jake's already done it. We're going. It's a whole new thing. World's Fair of Liberty. I just pulled this email up. I just want to share that before we start. Brent, welcome to If by Whiskey, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for inviting me, man.
Thanks for coming. I wanted to do this because you and I just connected. Once again, we just crossed paths. And with Jake here, you and Jake have some similar experiences that I haven't had. And I know we're going to get into some origin story stuff and everything, but I'd love to hear all that. And Jake, what's going on, man? How you doing, bud?
I'm doing good. I'm trying to decide if I want to mute my camera and go murder my dog who won't stop barking, but otherwise I'm doing awesome. And I'm looking at your background and I'm wondering, are you in heaven? What's with the white background behind you? Have you gone toward the white light?
You leave Jesse alone. He said my background's too busy. I'm gonna mute it down a little bit. I'm thinking about a little brick. I'm gonna put a little brick background, something, maybe a bookshelf. I heard bookshelves are popular nowadays.
I haven't filled mine yet. I've just got the I've got the banner up, and I'm in the middle of moving between a couple houses, so I'm scarce. I'm the minimalist at the moment, but it's good to see you, regardless whether you got a backdrop or not.
Well, thanks, man. I feel heavenly right now just talking to you guys. So, Brent, welcome, man. Aiming Up Podcast. What's going on? How are you doing? Tell us a little bit about yourself, and I'd love to hear how you got where you got, because kind of the great thing about this is like we find ourselves different in places, but we never really think about where we split off. And sometimes if we back up to where we split off, we go, oh, that's where I saw it differently, and maybe that's where we can consolidate or reconcile some differences. So welcome, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, as you mentioned, I run Aiming Up Podcast. I've been doing it for a little under 2 years now. I think I like episode 112 or something with Ben Weir yesterday. That's getting ready to publish. So having a lot of fun with that one. Had a lot of great guests, including yourself. Run Anarcho Syndicate clothing company, narcosyndicate.com. We make clothing for people who hate the government. That's a TLDR on that one. So
my order is on the way.
Yeah, I saw that. Thank you for placing that order, Jake. I was really, really honored. It's been a lot of fun starting this. I'm enjoying doing the designs. I think they're pretty sick. Hope everybody enjoys it. I just did a collab with Maj Touré. So we did some Black Guns Matter branded merch, and really excited about that one. Maj is awesome. He's also a prior guest on the show. But to give the backstory for me, I'm just some guy, man. I'm a guy that started out of high school. You know, I kind of grew up like poor, kind of a fucked up family. And military was my way out, or so I thought. And so I got into tech through the military. I don't have a degree in shit. I work at a big tech company now. I've been doing tech for like 32 years or something like that. And so, yeah, that's what I do. I hang out with autistic people all day at work. And then online and Twitter, I hang out with autistic people in the libertarian community. That's just what I do.
Surrounded.
I love it.
So fully surrounded, immersed. It's immersion.
So I think one of our earlier crossings had something to do with Catholicism, or maybe religion as a whole. And I think we're probably on not aligned 100%, but we're probably just on the same page about like maybe the religion might not have it right, or might be utilizing it or manipulating people. That's kind of how it was done back in the day. And in my opinion, it's been replaced by government. Jake, you had an interesting opinion on religion as well. Brent, I'd love for you to share a little bit about that journey for you, and then Jake, if you want to sprinkle in with yours, because like I'd love to get to know a little bit more about both of you.
Yeah, man. So I grew up hyper Catholic, like the most Catholic you can imagine. So I grew up in South Dakota, middle of fucking nowhere. Like, you ever seen the movie Fargo before? Like all those winter scenes with like the big ass Paul Bunyan and the ox and stuff, like that was within 45 minutes of my house. So like all those scenes you see in the winter was pretty much my winters. And then you had like basically a month on either side of that, and it transitioned like in May or maybe a part of June into like 100 degrees and 100% humidity like all summer long. So the place is just inhospitable. But grew up very Catholic. My grandmother was from the old country, legit, Czech Republic, came over here. Mom doesn't even speak any English, like super, super Catholic. My grandfather, his brother was a bishop of the state of South Dakota for 28 years. My mom's cousin was a Jesuit priest in the Vatican, like a PhD in theology. I'm talking like as Catholic a family as you can.
That's pretty Catholic. That sounds really
Yeah,
Catholic.
yeah. Went to Catholic school.
They came to America and decided South Dakota.
I guess a lot of Czechs and Polish people and Norwegians sort of migrated to the Dakotas, man. It's just a whole thing. I don't know how they got here, but all my ancestry DNA and shit shows that that was the migration path. And I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah, sure. You betcha. You want some of them night crawlers, Margie?
That's
sure,
what it
yeah.
sounds.
Sure,
not a joke, man. That's the.
No, I believe
that's what it sounded like where I grew up. Oh shit, Mark, we lost your camera, dog.
Yeah, that was me. I misclicked. I was trying to mute.
Yeah, so no, I went through all that Catholic shit, and I got indoctrinated like crazy. And I believed it because it was like it was scared into me. It was like basically everything that's human about you is terrible and wrong and evil, and you're gonna burn for all eternity if you don't get this exactly right. So I had a lot of religious angst, growing up around stuff. I didn't have any sort of spiritual experience at all. It was all just fear-based, and it was, Catholicism, fucking stand, sit, kneel, stand, seal, chant these words. It's like, it's
routine,
very
ritual.
It's like the Pledge of Allegiance, it's like indoctrination. You just burn this mindless stuff, and it's all fear-based. And it's all, tribal based too. Like I had a lot of this family pressure. Like when I decided to leave Catholicism, I was in high school, and my grandma was like one of those things like, you ever see the movie The Exorcist? You see when his mom shows up as the demon, like manifested as mom. I was like, why you do this to me, Demi? When he put her in a nursing home and shit. Like that's what my grandma was like. It was like I was ripping the heart out of her. And so there's a lot of parallels with the statism stuff. Like there's this like tribal thing. Like we're Catholic. It's not like it's an identity. It's not like, what do you believe? It's like, no, we believe this, and you better fucking believe it or else, right?
Yeah, we believe we're Catholic. That's actually what we believe. It's so funny because like I'm from the East Coast, Philadelphia, a lot of Catholic, Southern and South Italian, right? All Catholic. All they would do on Easters and Thanksgiving, they'd bitch about all the shit they had to spend to the church. And then they talk about, oh, so you're going next Tuesday, next Sunday, right? And you're like, yeah, I'm going, Bob. And you're like, what's wrong with you people? In that,
it's a status, status thing almost more than anything too for a lot of people. So Brent, you were saying it was like high school when you started to go away from it.
Yeah, my second senior year. It took me. I was a fucking terrible student, man. My report card was literally AFFA. Like
some of the best people are the worst students, man.
I had a 0.88 GPA.
Yeah, let's go. No, so it took me a second senior year, and I moved in with my my uncle in Montana, and I met some girlfriend who was like a Protestant evangelical, and pointed out some very obvious problems with Catholicism, and I was like, yeah, that's bullshit. Well, maybe the Bible is okay. We'll just go with that. And I kind of did that thing for a while, and it took me a while. I got into philosophy. Probably, God, I was like in my early 30s, mid 30s, something like that, and I really got deep into philosophy, and that cured me of my belief in God generally. Right? It was just like because I had this like literal belief in things. I had no sophistication about it. I was just like the new atheist thing. It's like you can so easily just hit the low hanging fruit if you take everything literally and be like, yeah, the Earth wasn't created in 7 literal days, stuff like that. Stuff that's really, really dumb. And so I went through a really painful Reddit atheist phase, and I think I'm on the other side of it now. I had, as some very transformative psychedelic experiences to a point where I'm like, well, something's going on. I don't know what the hell it is, but something's going on, and that's kind of where I remain. I'm like you and I talked on our show. I'm comfortable not knowing. I'm happy not knowing. I'm just like, hey, let's play with it. Let's have fun. Let's throw around some ideas. Let's let's see what sticks, and not worry too much about being right. That's kind of where I'm at.
I don't.
And I
I
need
don't
to
want
know.
to. I don't want to project or anything, but this is a very similar story to mine. It's like maybe it's an age thing or generational thing, but high school for me, I went away from it. I was like, this is not for me. I went hardcore into like the early Sam Harris atheist days, like kind of the Reddit atheism, like you're explaining. And it almost seemed like
The pre TDS Sam Harris. Some people don't know, but
yeah,
Sam Harris actually sounded like an intellectual a
it was
few
before
years
you
ago.
had the yoga.
It's like Ben Shapiro. He almost sounded like an intellectual a few years ago. Almost,
It was
it's
before the
almost like
meditation app, pre-meditation app, Sam Harris. But anyway, so I kind of came out the other side of that, and again, not putting words in your mouth, but it seems like it's almost like an understanding now of the threads of all of those things that tie together, and almost like a higher truth and a higher connection than any kind of one packaged religion. And that's kind of what I'm getting out of what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah, and I really truly believe that all major religions have roots in two experiences, right? So one is mediated by psychedelics, the other is mediated by meditation. Because I think both of them, and then the evidence is overwhelming, both of them get you to the same place. Long-term meditators, they have the
Yeah.
ability to end up in very, very similar psychedelic states, and I think that that's the origin of all religions, right? And I think
I'd
the
argue
problem,
physical trauma too. Who's to say someone didn't get bonked in the head, man? Because I got
well,
bonked in the head, and I shared a little bit about my stuff, and it's definitely not like I'm not special. I ain't shit. It just is, right? Like
let me throw a
The
third
sacred
one
mushroom
in.
and the cross, man.
Yeah, Marco Allegro. But no, the other thing too is a temporal lobe epilepsy. There's a lot of people that have temporal lobe epilepsy that have religious type experiences, and I think I mean, people have tumors in the temporal lobe. There's all these sorts of things that can cause that experience, and I think if you, I think like these like ancient prophets and stuff that have these visions, beatific visions, like a lot of that's probably mediated by some of that, and so there's probably some crazy mixed in there. So I think you have all of this substrate where these things are pointing at something, whatever this realm is. If you ever had an experience like that in a meditative state or a psychedelic state, you're confronted with the reality, like, oh shit, like this waking consciousness and this reality that we all sort of swim in, like there's something more. And so I think that these religions are an attempt to sort of figure that out, and I see it reflected in their architecture. I see it
Yeah,
reflected in their art. I see it. It's if you've had one of these experiences, you can see it in their holy books and their scriptures and the things that they're pointing to archetypally. And I think that everyone's got it wrong. I think everyone's trying their best, but also if you've had these experiences, they're ineffable, man. You can't explain it. You're so overwhelmed by the experience, you can't put words around it, and you're just awestruck. And I think that's where we're at as a species. We're trying to figure out. We can't figure it out. Everybody's wrong, but I'm kind of like, yeah, you're trying. So I think I'm kind of on the team of team people, team trying. Let's try our best to map this thing out.
the problem is we don't have language for the things we're experiencing. There just aren't words. Like, I mean, when we started, it's kind of like language was very simple and it's grown, but just like our evolution, our consciousness has grown. It's like there are experiences that are outside our verbal, physiological understandings. It's an interesting thing.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the great part about it. And that's why I love the brotherhood of people who've had these experiences, because you kind of like everyone gets together and compares notes, and you're trying to explain it. And if you explain it to somebody who's never had the experience, they have this look. They look at you like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Are you crazy?" But if you talk to somebody who's done it, you look at each other, you just go, "Ah, yeah." It's like, "Yeah, I know what you're talking about." Like, I can't explain it, I can't put words around it, but you've been there, you get it.
Yeah, I mean, you guys were both served in the military, right? So you probably have an understanding, like, hey, we both serve. We kind of have a general layer of understanding of what that is, right? To serve.
Yeah, I hate that word though. I fucking hate that word. I didn't
What's that?
serve. Serve. It's not service, man. It's not service. Service is when you
Please
like go out
share
and
about it. I wanted to talk about that because both of you did join the military. So, and I enlisted. I just failed the physical. So,
yeah,
I'm gonna
I was.
murder.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm gonna murder my dog. I'll be right back.
Cool. I'll just talk some shit then. So, I went in the military, like I said, because was a shitty student. I had no opportunities like for college or higher education or whatever. And I was taught by my family. It's just been indoctrinated in me in my school and in my family unit that military is the best thing you can do. It's like honorable. You should do this. I have like World War II veterans, Vietnam veterans in my family. And so I was like, oh, I'm doing the right thing, you know. And I went in and I realized, like, no, this is not what it's advertised to be. And I learned what it was like on the inside, and embraced the ideas of liberty. And I got a retooled view of what the military is. And like I said, it's not fucking service, man. Service is when you go out in your community and you help people voluntarily. Like you want to go run a food bank together. Like hey, like us three, we're going to go out on a weekend. We're going to feed some people. We're going to clothe some people. We're going to help some folks out in the community. Military service is it's you're mercenary, dude. You're taking a paycheck from the government, who, by the way, stole it from somebody else at gunpoint. Literally pointed the gun in someone's face and said, "You're going to pay me this money, or else I'm going to shoot you." That money went in my pocket, and as a consequence of that, I agreed to take that paycheck and then murder anybody that the government told me to murder.
Which
right?
which branch?
I was in the Army.
Okay, Marine Corps.
So I don't look at it as honorable. I think it's a deeply.
Oh, I didn't say honorable and I didn't say dishonorable. I have a neutral opinion, obviously, because it's my opinion. Clearly, your brain's not fully baked till 25. They indoctrinate you. I was the same indoctrination. Look, my dad was born in 1940 Germany. They walked hand in hand from Hamburg to Berlin while bombs were dropping all over. He's the only guy who came over. He had a sibling that died of malnutrition during the war. He comes over. He doesn't speak a lick English. He thinks that naturalization is service is the quickest way to naturalization. He enlists in the military, and some Jewish guy, literally a Jewish guy, is translating the English of the sergeant into Yiddish so my dad can half understand, so they can, it's like, this is the camaraderie, at least the brotherhood that you gain from it. But obviously it's wrapped in this other thing that's just unfortunately atrocious.
Yeah. And that's why to me, it's so repugnant, because it preys on people's good intentions. It's this propagandization of people from the time that they're too young to understand anything. Think about it. Pledge Allegiance. You're talking 4 or 5 years old, and you're sitting there chanting to a fucking flag with pictures of dear leader. You got like Lincoln and Washington up above. I mean, we've all seen it. And
it is weird because you don't realize it at the time, and then you get older and you realize like what you've been doing and how built in it is, and you're like, oh, that's the game. That's the game the whole time.
It is, and what the most disgusting part about it for me is that the government, although it is force, right? We understand government is a monopoly on force, initiatory force, but it doesn't like to use it. It likes to use us. So we are all tax cattle, essentially. There's been different methods of human ownership over the years: direct human ownership, chattel slavery, the sort of feudal model where you have a lord and you basically have, serfs that are, working the land and giving you a portion of their gains. And now we're at the point where, it's just, we're tax cattle. They're giving us this sort of illusion of freedom. So we're more productive, right? The sort of quote unquote capitalist system, which isn't capitalist at all, sort of runs, and we give them half our paycheck. And if we get out of line,
half if you're lucky.
Yeah, if you're lucky. Jeez, I pay so much money to the government, it makes me sick. It is multiple 6 figures every year, and it just makes me cry. But the point is that the tax cattle, the other students in your school that become citizens, they're the ones that are keeping you in line. Humans are a tribal species, and we've been indoctrinated with the same bullshit. And if you get out of line, if you say, you know what, maybe military service isn't honorable, maybe we shouldn't have a government. Maybe you shouldn't structure society by pointing guns at people's faces and threatening to murder them. Maybe we shouldn't do it. Government doesn't have to enforce that with physical violence. I mean, they will if they have to, but ultimately, think about it. Look at everybody online. They will shout you down.
It doesn't need to get to that.
Well, I love this one. Think about it. Taxation is theft. What's the first thing you hear? The first response I get is, the rich need to pay their share.
No, they're fair.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Their fair share. Yeah.
Right. Their fair share. Right. And you're like, why wouldn't you agree that taxation is theft? Like, why wouldn't you just agree that, like, on a basic level, that it's all shit? Like,
because they can't, because the whole thing, the whole illusion.
They got to pick a side.
the whole illusion comes crumbling down if you admit that. That's why they have to insert this fucking bullshit like the social contract. You agreed to it. I'm telling you, I don't agree to it, but you're still here. You didn't move. You're forced to leave. Otherwise, you accept the terms. It's like all of that bullshit.
It's that,
and we have a question from Rich. Also, go ahead, Jake. Go ahead. Finish your thing.
It's that, and it's also the fake sense of security that you get. It's almost like the mouse in the cage with the little bottle that just gives you a drop when you need it, because you have this sense of security, like they're going to take care of you. They're going to take care of you. That's what the tax money goes for. If we didn't have taxes, how would all these things be paid for, and how would it be done? And nobody really understands that.
What about
for hundreds of years and thousands of years, people got by just fine without that. And even in this country, I mean, for the first 30 years of the country's existence, we didn't have income taxes and everything was fine. We had schools and roads and universities.
We funded it by asking. Exactly. We were like, hey,
I don't
we need money. Do you guys want to fund it?
I'm agreeing with Brent on the indoctrination and it's like from multiple sides, right? It's like the church, number one, the schools, number two, your neighborhood, organizations. I mean, all these Boy Scouts, all these little things that, not to say that they're all, throw the baby out with the bathwater. There's good stuff to them, but they're all set up the same way. Like Brent's saying, it's like, you're kind of keeping an eye on your neighbor and keeping your neighbor in check in whether you realize you're doing it or not.
Yeah. That's why I oppose the public school systems or government school system. I don't want to call it public. It's just a fucking government indoctrination center. And that's one of the easiest ways I think liberty-minded people can break out of that cycle. If we're not sending our kids to these, come on, they're like retard.
They put
factories.
masks on children when facial recognition and facial cues are the most important part, and they injected children when not a single one needed it. Not a single one.
Yeah, but they couldn't not get their funding. They had to have asses in seats to get their funding. That's all it comes down to.
Yep. Skydiver, chute doesn't open. Oh, he died of COVID. Yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a wild thing. Dying of COVID or dying with COVID, just lumping that shit all together.
Yep. All of it. And they got funded. We'll pay your funeral if you say that your daughter was, that we injected 2 weeks ago, died of COVID.
So back to getting out of the army.
Strike, by the way.
Continue the get out of the army stuff. I got to keep us on track because I want to hear the story.
As far as getting out?
Well, I just mean that next phase, because that was kind of where we left it. Is thank you for your service. We had that discussion, but where did it go from there for you? How'd you get into philosophy?
That's a great question. I got into philosophy tangentially through politics. I think is that I got into politics because I've always been into politics a little bit. It's weird. So I was like I said, a really poor kid, and I attended a Catholic private school, just because of my family connections and all that sort of stuff. And so a lot of the kids, these little pricks that I went to school with, their dads were attorneys and their dads were doctors, that whole thing. And I noticed,
I went to church school too. It was all rich kids.
Yeah. And so I'm the autistic pattern recognition guy. And I'm like, oh, these rich fucks are all Republicans. So I'm like, I should be a Republican, as I started, Ronald Reagan was president in the 80s. That was the whole big thing. And I kind of got swept up into that a little bit. And then got interested in Ron Paul's teachings earlier, like when he was first, doing what he did, using his position.
Revolution.
And so I kind of got onto that train a little bit. And from there, I kind of got into a lot of the underpinnings of political philosophy. And so I got into that, and that led me to just philosophy generally. I learned about epistemology and metaphysics. And I went really deep you remember when Stefan Molyneux was big? Like before COVID, like he had a massive channel, and he had this great class called Introduction to Philosophy. I think it's still on the internet somewhere. It was just a super deep introduction, and it walked all the way through. Started literally with epistemology and ended up with the non-aggression principle in his sort of treatise on ethics, which is universally preferable behavior. And so it's always been interesting to me, but that's kind of how I got into it, is kind of tangentially through politics originally.
I had a similar, I didn't get into philosophy, but I had a similar experience with the school, going to church school. All the kids were their parents' own contracting companies, dentists, all that kind of thing. I got in a lot of fights when I was younger, got picked on a lot. I was always the fat kid, so that was an easy target. But my parents, same thing. My parents were really Republican, and I specifically remember Ross Perot, and I remember how much he stood out to my parents and my dad especially. My dad's a world-class contrarian, and that was kind of my first kind of foray into paying attention to another, not the donkey, not the elephant kind of thing. And then realizing, even at that age, I mean, with my minuscule understanding of politics, understanding how they completely railroaded that guy and like took away any opportunity he had to actually to make it. And that, I mean, ideas wise, and that whole time that he bought on TV with his own money to put on that
finish,
like,
can of finish.
That guy, I mean, he had a real chance. And if it was now, I mean, who knows if you'd stayed alive.
Well, remember, like Dave Smith speaks about Ron Paul, for example, and didn't he have the most votes from military personnel during the?
He did, yeah. In his 2008 campaign, most of his funding was from military families, and because I mean, he was the guy that was like, we shouldn't be sending these people over there to blow up these poor brown kids. Like maybe we bring these people back home, And so I think that resonated a lot with that military audience, because they were so exhausted from, at that point, it was like almost 8 years of continual warfare in the Middle East. Like that's just a meat grinder.
They're over here because we're over there. What a great, it's just such a simple way to say stuff. And you're like, how do these messages not resonate? They're so simple and straightforward.
I don't know, but I love this. This is my favorite Ron Paul moment of all time, is watching him in 2008 in a presidential debate, getting booed for advocating the golden rule. Remember that shit? Like at a Republican, that I was just like, that was such a brilliant move.
I didn't pay attention to enough politics. At 2008, I was still in a band trying to think I was going to make a living playing music. So I was too into the scene really to pay attention to politics. But that, maybe this will foray into our next part of our conversation. But that is when, for me at least, my experience with psychedelics started. When I first started getting into that kind of thing. I grew up in Southern California, so drugs were easy to get. We had a friend back in the day who was able to get pure MDMA, not the stamped, dolphins or whatever, but the pure capsules that we would break open and snort them to get it started a little faster. But that was my first. I mean, mushrooms, sure. Mushrooms don't underestimate mushrooms. Mushrooms are kind of the consistent. If you want to get there every time, mushrooms will do it, but they're a little,
for sure.
They're a little unpredictable, I guess. For me, MDMA was the thing that I enjoyed the most, because it really made, at least at the time, it really made me feel like I saw the world differently. Mushrooms made me see myself differently, but MDMA made me see the world differently. And I had this I was able to reduce everything down to its parts and really understand, at least I thought, I really feel strongly that I understood, the world at its most basic level, I guess, and how people were just babies that had grown up and all their experiences and their filters and things they've gone. It almost like it just snapped me into that right away. That was my most favorite. Like, if I could say everyone in the world should do one drug one time, I think pure MDMA would be the one, or DMT, and we can get into that later. But that was my master's class, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, MDMA is different. It's not a psychedelic. It's not a classic psychedelic. It's empathogen. And that's the interesting thing. I've never done it, by the way. That's one of the things I've always wanted to do. But
tomato. I'm just kidding.
But no, apparently that sort of
it must hit, well, if it hits differently, it would change your perception for inward versus outward, for example, or something.
Yeah, I
he's
think
right. That's not a traditional psychedelic. I understand the point for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it would, my tell me if that's your experience, but my understanding of it is that it sort of breaks down that sort of ego and allows you to see the other person in a completely empathetic way. Like you're like you said, like if you look at somebody, everybody's fucked up by the time they get to our age, but I think
Yep.
you can look past that and, like you said, see them as maybe an injured child that's, following that old adage of hurt people, and you just kind of like have this nothing but pure love and acceptance for the other person, almost the same way you have for yourself. That's how I hear it told, but like I said, I've never had the experience, so I'm talking out my ass.
No, you're not wrong. And to be
Okay.
honest with you, it's for me, it was even an extension of that into institutions, public institutions. I mean, I was able to see public institutions as they're just made up of these people, and these people are all children that have gone through their experience. So everything was kind of reduced down to that for me. And it made me realize that, not to generalize too much, but we're all in this fucking soup here and hopefully you're trying to do your best and make your way of it. And it really kind of helped give me perspective in those years when, I thought I was going to be this rock star traveling, touring and all this. And then I started getting into that. And I was like, oh, I'm not shit. Like I'm just an amoeba floating in this pond. And it really helped in a way that was, I mean, it's hard to put into words anytime you're talking about psychedelics to really convey it all. But again,
Yeah.
maybe it's not psychedelic, but the experience of a mind altering drug like that.
My
Yeah, I
buddy
think
got hit in the head. Oh, go ahead, Brent.
Oh, I was just going to say, I was going to double tap on what Jake said. Mushrooms, they are very unpredictable. And I think that's one of the things that scares some people off about them, because everyone likes to talk about the classic bad trip. Oh, I don't want to have a bad trip. And, that's a possibility, but I don't think I've ever had a bad trip. I've had some very challenging trips. I've had some trips that were incredibly unpleasant in the moment, but I think some of those are the ones I've gained the most from, if that makes sense. I've learned some very, very valuable lessons.
Mushrooms are like a set and setting drug.
Very much so. Yeah. If you don't have your mindset right and you don't have your setting right, which I always love to do it outdoors. I think there's something special about doing it out in nature. If you do it, I hate it indoors. Like sometimes when I was first starting out, maybe just lay in bed, like maybe watch TV or something. I was like, oh God, that's a terrible experience. And like, don't have any clutter in your house if you're going to do it. Like even having things mildly disheveled in your house, like not organized, is going to make you nuts. Like there's just something about having a nice, pristine, clean space to do it. If you're going to do it indoors or going out in nature, having your mindset right, setting your intention, like, why am I doing this? Like, what am I going into the experience hoping to get out of it? If you don't take it seriously, I think that's the big thing. Like if you just flippantly go into it, it's like, yo, I'm going to bomb 10 grams of mushrooms and whatever, see what happens. Yeah. Boy, you're going to have a bad time. Maybe.
I think it's a waste. It's a waste to do it inside. I mean, it's like you're wasting the experience.
Exactly. I agree. Completely agree.
I hear that. That's interesting.
So,
well, it's funny that you talk about experience too, Jay, because like you're talking about breaking down the simplest thing. So I have a buddy who took his own life. But he was a motocross kid, and at like 17, got in a coma, hit his head, and he was like schizo. He would draw these crazy pictures and everything. I've got pictures of him and or the sketches he drew and whatever. But he had this notebook that he only shared with me. Like, it was hard to get close to this kid. But when you did, he was like locked on, you know what I mean? It's like when you guys understand each other, right? He had this notebook. He goes, I figured it out, man. The world's a Rubik's Cube. The world's a Rubik's Cube. He said it was like, and he had these pictures like all cube. Have you guys experienced anything cubular or cubic or like geometric, things like that? I'm assuming you might have with your trips and things. I'm curious if there's any overlap in that.
Not cubic. I think mushrooms are very, I don't know, it's hard to explain. Organic. Like the patterns that you get are very
more fluid, like curves and natural golden rule type stuff, Fibonacci type stuff.
Yeah, definitely not angular. Like mushrooms are not sharp and angular. LSD is, for example. LSD is
Right,
fucking
that's what, yeah, I'm wondering
laser
what different
beams and
experiences.
angles and like
Right,
but
right.
mushrooms
Okay. Yeah.
it just reminds me of something that's very organic, like something like the shapes as they move. It's got an organic nature to it, which I think, to Jake's point, if you go outside, like that enhances it. You're looking at things out in nature, whether it's tree bark or whether it's the sky. Like you look at the clouds and how everything moves. Like it's very earthy. That's a better word. Earthy. It's just it's crunchy and granola-y, and I didn't expect it to be that, but it definitely is. It's got a different character, different nature to it. I think LSD is a weird thing. I think maybe because it is man-made, it's derived from ergot. And it's a chemical thing. It just feels like the nature is different. And God, LSD, like 12 hours straight of that, you're so tired of it after the first 4 hours. LSD's got this big peak like mushrooms do, and then it comes down, only brings you halfway down, and you just kind of sit there halfways tripping for like 8 hours after that. It's a miserable
That's the
experience.
worst. That's the worst part. Yeah.
And you can't sleep. It is just like it's terrible. I don't know why people like LSD, but that's the experience.
What?
Yeah, that
Okay,
doesn't sound
so
pleasant.
was mushrooms your go-to, or did you end up graduating to a DMT or anything else like that? Okay. That's
Yes,
the same way. That's the same way I did it. Was that way, and it was. Anyway, go ahead. I asked you.
It
A
scared
gateway
me.
psychedelic.
Yeah, well, and obviously, like that's the big one, right? Like that's the one that you always hear you want to break through. And by the way, I've never broken through on DMT. I'm still trying to get there. I did a sort of an acid base extraction on Mimosa hostilis bark, and I had like made my own, so I knew it was safe, and I knew it was handled properly. And I tried to do like this vape rig. I did the YouTube thing, like, hey, autistic, I'm gonna do all the things technically. And I got the ribbon. There's like this stainless steel mesh ribbon that they put in the little vape rigs. You're supposed to apparently sprinkle it on, and you're supposed to be able to break through in one hit. That's what I was trying for. So I did that. I tried to light it up, and it scared me so much. After that one hit, I didn't touch it for 4 years afterwards. I didn't break through, but it looked like the entire universe started breaking apart like the most violent earthquake you've ever seen in your life. Like my vision went shaky. Everything was just crazy. I had about 2 minutes of just a really intense trip, and it took me literally 4 years to start dipping my toes back in it again. And I had all of the prep too. I told myself, hey, you're a psychedelic expert here. You know how the deal is. You just float downstream. Don't try to hang on. Don't try to control the experience. I did all the prep. I did all the set and setting like I would do with mushrooms. I prepared. I was like, man, I'm just going to let go. And I'm telling you, within an eighth of a second, I was like, I immediately regret this decision. That scared the living shit out of me. And I'm still trying to sort of tiptoe back in now.
So for me, the first time I did it, like I instantly, all my limbs got extremely heavy. Like I was completely glued, almost like weighted down to this chair that I was
Like
in.
a sleep paralysis?
Kind of like that.
It feels like gravity has been turned up. Like the volume of gravity just
feels like a midget is hanging from your necklace.
A little bit, yeah.
I didn't break through either, and I still haven't. It's only been a handful of times for me, but even just getting to where I got, it didn't scare me in that same way. Maybe it was naivete or whatever, but I really so my wife's amazing. The day that the Fear Inoculum album came out from Tool, I was really excited about it. I had a DMT pen that I won't say how we got it, but I had a DMT pen. She set up this like experience thing for me in my office where like I was streaming the new record. She put some whiskey out for me. I didn't want to get into that at the same time, but I sat down and I started this new Tool record, and I started smoking DMT. And I realize now that I don't think I smoked enough the first time, which, your first time, you're obviously like, you don't know what to do or how much or whatever, but I got this feeling. And being a musician, as soon as I kind of came out of that experience, I sat down and I ended up writing a song about it like right away. But the first line of that song is weightless yet heavy, because I had this weird ethereal kind of floating feeling where nothing was angular like Brent's talking about. Everything was
like
circular,
motiony, like a
Fibonacci.
slow, like like a
Yeah,
slow, like flow, like a I
but
don't know how to
almost like
explain, like an ooze, like a slow
like
lava almost?
Alex Gray art. Alex Gray art
Yeah,
is some of the
okay.
best, the most visually descriptive way of a sober person seeing what that's like. But that was the experience that I had, and after that I was like, okay, I could see now how this could and even without breaking through completely, I still had this amazing feeling of like oneness with everything around me, and
Mhm.
this weird, I don't want to use the word vibration, but almost like this frequency that I snapped into for a period of time. I think it was maybe 15 minutes total by the time I completely was like back to like, oh, okay. And that's the best kind of trip, to be honest with you. Something that's like that powerful and that impactful, but that doesn't last 10, 12 hours like LSD.
Yeah, that's for
This is a
sure,
good
man.
point.
Oh,
This is a
sorry.
good
Well, yeah,
point,
you want to
Rick.
answer the questions, man? I keep seeing questions coming in the
Oh,
chat.
no, it's cool. So, real quick, Jake, if you want to read off what Rich had said right there, and I'll pull up that other question.
What was it? Something, pretty sure they took DMT and had access to the pineal gland. Yeah, pretty sure our foods are purposely made to stunt our natural access to psychic abilities. Well,
There's
we
a
can get
pineal
into that. Brent, I
cleanse you
want
can look
to
into.
hear, I guess, more about your DMT, but I also, the way I kind of came up on you guys talking was the last episode you guys did where you were talking about some sort of connections to things or seeing things. And all that I'm going to say is I want to be a passenger on this ride, because I personally have not had experiences. I've been in places where I was supposed to. I've been on the Queen Mary in Long Beach where supposedly, these people, everyone sees things. I personally feel, and this, I'm going to shut up in a second, but I really feel like there's a spectrum out there of frequencies, and I think that some people can tap into frequencies that other people can't. And I think that we all have the parts to be able to do it, but maybe we don't all have the ability to. So just because it's never happened to me, or just because I don't have that experience, I would never say that it doesn't exist or that other people aren't having that experience. So I'm always fascinated by it. Maybe that's where we go from here, but I really want to hear about some of that stuff.
I want to talk about that, and Brent, I want you to go first. However, on December 9th, and Jake, you are invited. I just haven't mentioned it yet because it got cobbled together literally yesterday. But Rob Yates and Brent and myself are going to literally talk about consciousness being like fundamental versus emergent. We're going to be so over our skis where it's going to be crazy. But Brent, please share this part, because like you're welcome to be on that one, Jake. It's on the 9th. I think we did 7 p.m. just a little earlier, like an hour earlier. But Brent, go ahead and share a little bit your thoughts about what Jake was asking.
Yeah, well, I think that I don't think everybody. I disagree with Jake. I don't think everybody has the same abilities with respect to cognition, right? Like and this comes from my personal experience of living with highly sensitive women. My wife, my daughters, they're all highly sensitive, and it's fucking spooky. I know, Mark, you and I talked about this. They're able to just naturally tap into a similar place, I think, as the psychedelic space. Like like my daughter's done psychedelics, my wife has, and they're like, yeah, this is kind of similar to what we have access to on a day-to-day basis. Not exactly the same.
I just meant the same hardware. That's all. Everyone's got the same hardware. That's all.
Yeah,
That's all.
I don't think you were saying the same. I don't think he was saying the same. I think he's saying we all have, like, there are frequencies that some people can get to and some can't, but some, to that point, I don't want to.
Yeah, I think there's just something that's just human biodiversity. We're so different as creatures from each other. We have this sort of general type of cognition that we all share, but I think other people are special. I think there are people that have some sort of extra gifts. Like you look at the telepathy tapes, the nonverbal autistic kids are able to communicate telepathically, apparently.
I can feel it off them. That's not a joke. Like, they scream. I'm at a restaurant and I see a kid, and I feel walk by. My girlfriend watches me visibly change, like actually get like that anxiety, whatever that internal is.
Yeah, and I think
Crazy.
there's a bunch of stuff that we just haven't figured out yet. Like human beings, like we're especially the scientifically minded people. We're so sure we got this all figured out. We know all the senses. We know we don't know shit. We just don't know shit. And I think this is one of the downsides of like that Reddit atheism and that like hyper skeptical approach to the world. I think it's important to be skeptical. I think skeptics have their place. But I think if you want to push the envelope, we want to learn new things about people. We want to learn new things about perception, new things about the universe. You have to be open and drop your skepticism a little bit and at least allow yourself to have the conversation with people. Be like, hey, like genuinely curious. Like, what's your actual experience? Like, what did you experience? How do you view the world? How do you see things differently than me? Somebody that I've been talking to, Juliette Bryant, you know who that is? She's one of the Epstein victims. She's one of the Epstein victims that was kidnapped on the same trip as Bill Clinton and who else was on that trip? It was
Chris Tucker one.
Chris Tucker, the South
Chris
Africa.
Tucker and Kevin Spacey's right. Kevin Spacey, was that one?
Yes, Kevin Spacey was on that one, and it was a sort of humanitarian mission or whatever. But it was also apparently a Victoria's Secret recruiting trip. And they sort of suckered her into like, you're going to fly back to New York with us and you're going to get a modeling contract. And the plane landed on fucking Epstein Island and she was kidnapped. But she claims that she saw Jeffrey Epstein shapeshift into like a fucking reptilian alien type of thing. And she swears it up and down. And she's talking about all this stuff because she met Michael Bay on one of Epstein's properties in New Mexico. And she was absolutely certain that they were taking her eggs and absolutely certain they were doing some sort of cloning operation at some underground facility underneath the property. And apparently, yeah. And if you look at Michael Bay, he wrote that movie. What the fuck is the name of that movie?
Transformers or one. Which one?
No. This was one literally about human cloning.
They're fucking around.
So Michael Bay was an Epstein associate. She's claiming she had pelvic examinations and her eggs taken from her, and she swears they were cloning, and there was this shape-shifting stuff going on. She's real out there. And I think
remember the movie They Live? We're Gen Xers. They Live was probably one of the most eye-opening movies for me. It literally shook me because like it had Roddy Piper, for God's sake. And the guy that does the Navy commercials. The Navy. That guy, right? What are you talking about, man? And they're like watching that, and the glasses obey and consume and all that stuff. And that stuff opened my eyes. And I know that John Carpenter was allegedly one of the insiders, along with like Spielberg and all these other guys. And look at the movies they create. And you're like, is it, manufacturing the consent for the preparation of that, or is it just they saw it so they just emulate it kind of thing?
Yeah. And I think Hollywood, it's sort of like this act of these people, whoever these people are. We don't really know who's pulling all the strings, but whoever they are, I think they like to tell on themselves. And I think oftentimes they like to tell on themselves through the narratives that are published in Hollywood. I think the
same way serial killers want to be caught.
Yeah. So
it's got to be that same kind of mentality.
Have you all seen the movie Eyes Wide Shut? The Stanley Kubrick movie?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Are you aware that it is essentially about child sex trafficking?
Not child sex trafficking, but just general.
Do you know why you don't know that? It seems to be an
obvious theme kind of wrapped in a thriller.
Yeah, well, get this. So apparently Stanley Kubrick died like 4 days after that movie was screened. And at the screening, you heard him, like the people that were waiting in line outside the theater heard him throwing an absolute fit, screaming, "You can't cut my movie. You can't cut my movie." And they cut out a whole bunch of stuff, apparently. There was somebody who was on Rogan that was a Kubrick disciple and knew how, like, he's like, hey, they cut out. And there was a narration scene that they cut out here, and this doesn't make sense. And so they cut his movie. But one of the things they did leave in that you have to sort of pay attention, but if you go look at the clips, it's super obvious, is that Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise they're walking through this sort of toy store at the very end. And if you pay attention to the movie, there's these two men that are always appearing around Tom Cruise throughout the entire movie. They're like, you see them in public. They're always following him around. And at the very end of the movie, they're in that toy store watching their daughter. She's like 8 years old or something. And walks up to the Rosemary's Baby bassinet. That was a prop that was in the toy store. She walked up to and looked at. And at the very end, like they're watching her through the whole thing. And at the very end, the two men take the daughter away. The two men that have
I
been
missed that.
Yeah, it's very subtle. But if you go back and watch it, you're like, holy shit, they gave away their daughter to the sex cult.
I've always really liked that movie for the thriller aspect of it. I mean, I didn't read that far into it. I realized it was about trafficking. It's kind of obvious, but I never noticed that ending. I'm gonna have to go check that out again.
Yeah, so there's
Yeah,
this
definitely.
dark shit
I've
that's
always
going
just like
on.
Kubrick, man.
Yeah,
Because
Kubrick's
Kubrick's
crazy.
moon landing, you know, look at the weird stuff he put in The Shining about the moon landing and all. So it's like pretty interesting, you know. We'll have to talk about that one, Jake. I know we're gonna talk about Age of Disclosure. That's gonna be fun. We're gonna do a UFO one.
Oh,
or
Well,
UAP, whatever you call them.
Kubrick and Jolly West were contemporaries too, and Jolly West was on the on Kubrick's sets. And so, like the whole MK Ultra aspect of this, it's fucking weird,
Well,
man.
the CIA being involved in Hollywood and the Hollywood being involved with the CIA has been hand in hand. I mean, since it started, I think.
100%.
One Nation Under Blackmail, Whitney Webb. Those two.
Shout out.
2 parts, right?
God,
The 2 books.
that's
Shout out, right?
Such a great series, man. Whitney Webb.
Hey,
is,
if anybody can get Whitney Webb to talk to any of you guys, could you please?
I've been
may
asking
I
for a
please
long
just
time, man.
I know, me too, but I'll just be in the corner. You don't even have to. I'll mute. You don't even have to do anything. Just put me in the corner. I'll just sit there and watch, man.
Yeah, dude. That's been the person I really wanted to get on because, as you know, I'm like deep in the Epstein. There's nothing pisses me off more than the Epstein stuff. That's caused me to crash out. That's why I got all pissed off at Tim Burchett, and then Jack Danger blocked me because I don't know, because I was critical.
And then he got Mike Benz. And I look, I'm cool with Jack. Like it's funny. And the thing is, I still have like weird questions about like the loyal, because I'm like, do you not like Libya because you don't like Libya, or was it because it was under Obama? I'm still trying to figure that one out. But like I like Jack. Jack and I are cool. He sends me stuff every once in a while. I'll pump his show. That's great. He just had Mike Benz on. I'm like, I've been trying to get Mike Benz. I could talk with him about pretty much music, anything he wants to, you know, be living in Philly for a bit and all this stuff. I'm like, but I guess you almost have to take a side to get a person in some weird ways. And that's just not me. Like Burchett, to your point, have you seen what he said about Marjorie, MTG? This bullshit that
I don't know if I've seen all that.
Go
like,
her way.
I don't really know. Tell me what he said, because like after the whole performative bullshit, which by the way I called way in advance if you would try to pull that.
Yeah, go ahead and break that down. Break that down exactly how you call that and how that works.
Right
I saw it too.
Right on.
Yeah,
about that.
yeah.
I was impressed.
Yeah, dude, I saw this so clear as day, because he was one of the people that just talked all this shit. He was just, we're going to public executions for Epstein clients. He's yelling at Pam Bondi to release the files and all that stuff. And I swear to God, I fucked up on this one, because I thought Burchett was going to sign Massey's discharge petition. Like, he's going to be one of those guys. He's the guy. He's making all this noise. He's going to do it. And when I saw, it's all women. It was Marjorie Taylor Greene, and it was Nancy Mace and Lauren Boebert. No males in the Republican Party were signing on to this. And I saw that happening, and I gave him a couple of days, maybe a week. And then I just started pummeling him. I was tweeting at him all the time, like, sign the fucking discharge petition. And refused to do it.
You would think that he should be the first one in line on all the stuff he said, the district he represents, the fact that he always claims to be chummy with Massey. Like, you would expect that he's first one to sign that. Go ahead, but I mean,
preaches his religion like it's his shield, hides behind his faith like a little pussy. To be honest, I'm just calling.
Yeah. I got no respect for him, because I saw the game, and once I saw the game, then I can't help myself. I just started doubling down. Like I said, I've tweeted at him at least 1,000 times. I'm calling him out in public. I'm quote tweeting his shit. I'm tweeting underneath his stuff. And it was just
recognition again.
Yeah, totally, it was. And I said, you know what's gonna fucking happen? And I tweeted a bunch of times about this. I made videos about it. I'm like you're gonna wait until this thing gets forced. When somebody finally hits 218, then you're going to swoop in like you're the fucking hero. Like, you're really going to do. And he did. Like, the day that 218 got crossed, and Graval.
And he did it. And he did it with the unanimous consent vote that won't get the unanimous. Right. It'll block the 218, but won't get the unanimous. And he knows that. So he puts it out there like he proposed it. Get out of here.
It's like that meme. It's like, go out there and make this about you. Like, at that point, he had to. He was like, I'm going to. And the thing is people are so fucking stupid. people are like, they bought it. They're like, oh yeah, Tim, he was the guy. I'm like, well, where the fuck were you for the months and months that we were waiting for that 218th vote? You literally personally blocked the floor vote. We think about it that way. If
Well,
you're at 217, at any point you could have just signed the fucking thing and it would have caused a floor vote. But because Trump, who he's counting on support from, said if you sign this, it's a hostile act, Tim just bitched up and he just completely pussied out. And anytime I hear him talk about anything about victims or Epstein or anything, I just get incensed, man. Like that enrages me.
Well, then those 2 videos he did right out, he did the one from his office like later that day, and then the next morning he's out in the woods. Oh, I'm back in Tennessee, and he did another one. And I was like, shit, that's exactly what Brent called.
And I think I don't want to say that I had something to do with it, but I might have had something to do with it. Not because of me, but because of Dr. Simon Godek, right? Because he posted that. Because there was another clip I had with him, because he was saying like, look, I was he's like, a bunch of congressmen follow me. And I was personally DMing these people saying support Massey's petition. And I asked him specifically if Burchett did it. And he's like, no, he never did. And so when I posted that video calling him out, Godek retweeted that. And it got something like 20,000 views or something like that. So I think Tim got a little bit of heat for that. I hope he did anyway, because it seemed like it was very weird. Like I think the video I posted, it was under his initial one when he's walking on the steps saying, "Oh, I did the unanimous consent and the Democrats blocked it." Yeah, and so I called him out for the bullshit, and then Godek retweeted that, and I think later that evening, or maybe it was the next day, he did that follow-up video. So he's big time mea culpa for that. He had to position himself as being a good guy, and that dude is not a fucking good guy.
Well, so I paid attention to him longer for all the UAP stuff. Like he seems to be one of the guys who's on the kind of, and again, I'm taking a closer look now after this Epstein thing, because again, like for a casual observer, it seemed like he was all in for the Epstein, all in for all the petition and everything, and then realizing that, oh, he could have signed it. I paid a little closer attention after you said that. But the UAP stuff, like I watch Age of Disclosure. We don't have to get into all that now, but he's a prominent part in that. And it seems like he led some of the hearings with Dave Grush and Fravor and what's the other? I can't remember the other guy's name, but he led a lot of that.
And George Knapp and all those guys.
He's been on the kind of leading edge for a while, and I digress a bit, but that Anna Paulina Luna, I don't know what it is about her that rubs me the wrong way. I can't put a finger on it. But she's like she's right in his shadow with the UAP stuff. She's like right there with it. I watched her on Rogan. I tried to like give her benefit of the doubt. I couldn't do it, but Burchett for me on the UAP stuff, like for now, he's still my dude for the pushing towards the disclosure and stuff, but I'm definitely taking a closer look.
I think he's full of shit. I think he's full of shit, and I think he's being used, and I think this UAP disclosure stuff is nothing but propaganda. I think this is all those people you talked about, talking about Fravor, all these people are part of a cover-up. I think I don't trust any of them on this.
Okay, cover up like all this happened and they're covering it up, or covering it up like nothing happened and they're painting a narrative.
I think they're painting a narrative.
That 100% happened.
Not that none of it has happened. I'm not saying none of it has happened. I don't know how much has happened, but I
think they're trying to steer what we're learning. I think is what
exactly.
We're saying in a broad sense. They're trying to just steer just what we learn, when we learn it, how we learn it, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. A lot of this is propaganda. I think there's something else going on. I don't know what it is exactly, but they're hiding something. And I think this disclosure thing, I don't know if it's a distraction. I don't know if it is meant to be like this red herring to get you off the scent, but there's something clearly very weird going on. It could be advanced tech. It could be who the hell knows what it is, but I don't trust any of these people here. I think these people that are involved in these disclosures are part of the Borg. I think they're part of the system. Like, do you think the government's going to tell you anything they don't want you to know? Like, fuck no, they're not.
Dr. Greer, I think, is a psyop. I used to think he was like the exposer guy. Isn't it Dr. Greer, right? Stephen Greer? Is that the guy I'm talking about?
He's Phenomenon. Stephen Greer is the one I think is the psyop. Yeah, I go back and forth on Elizondo
and all that. Here's what data point.
Lou, we'll talk offline about Lou. I've got off the record stuff about Lou. 100%. I like direct firsthand Lou stuff. I can talk.
Here's one of the here's my pattern recognition thing going from way back. You remember Tom DeLonge?
Oh yeah.
Tom DeLonge. Yeah.
Do you remember that first episode of when he was on Rogan talking about his getting sort of pulled into the UAP disclosure? Did you listen to the story? He got approached
I
by
don't
people.
remember it, but yes,
his claim is, I got approached by all these people in the Pentagon. I got approached by all these people in Navy. Like,
they
all
use
these
music all the time. PsyOps use music.
Yes, and
PsyOps
they said we're bringing you in, buddy. We want you to be the face of this. Then he did that whole thing, the To the Stars Academy, and there's all that. Like he was like this public facing media front. And it was a cool, quirky story. Oh, this musician that's interested in UFOs. Like, I think it's a fucking psyop, dude. I think this thing has been long planned, and I don't know why they're doing it, but I don't trust any of it.
So the Honda Jet rocket guy, who's a Honda Jet rocket guy? Do you think? He's
like,
you're talking about. Is he like the? Fravor always. Yeah, he was just
Bob
on
Lazar.
Bob Lazar. Yeah, Bob Lazar. Because there's what Bob Lazar in Area 51. I think is coming out too. I think we got to watch that before too. But what'd you say, Jake?
It's the Honda Jet rocket guy, and then it was Bob Lazar. That was a good. I was like, who you thought? Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, the Honda Jet rocket guy. That's how he got approached, right? Anyway, what are your thoughts on him?
I don't know what I think about Bob Lazar.
He seems like the weirdest one of all of them.
He definitely does, and he's got the Element 115 or whatever. Like there's
Muscovium, by the way.
That there's certain aspects of his story are somewhat believable, but at the same time, there was that thing where he was on Rogan and he got the headache when he started getting the tough questions, and like there's red flaggy stuff in his background. I don't know what to think of him, but also, by the way, guys, this isn't my jam. This is like I pay 0% attention to this, and so I'm definitely not an expert, and I don't know all the personalities. I don't know all of the backstory. I pay a lot of attention to Eric Weinstein. He's very, very deep into the UAP stuff because he's in physics, and he's like, hey, like he's thinking like, have we discovered? And this is like the grand conspiracy that basically all of physics has been a psyop. He's saying like, look, he thinks that string theory. That's
right. The whole thing from the 70s, it got redirected. Exactly. But I have a question about Eric because I find Brett to be a very honest actor. I've met Brett in person. I find him to be pretty true, and I'd love to have a conversation with Brett Weinstein. But with Eric, he was in bed with PayPal. I mean, I'm curious if it's intelligence plus psyop plus whatever, plus I don't know if he has an agenda, but I also know that he's freaking brilliant, and I want. You know what I mean? So what are your thoughts in, balancing those two things?
Yeah, well, I don't know, but I'm like I said, my pattern recognition radar's going off, and I do believe because I've had Lawrence Krauss on. I'm sort of like a amateur into physics guy, whatever that would be, and I understand that Eric's making valid points about string theory. It's been bullshit. He's
right.
Like, 40 years of
in a direction.
Yeah, 40 years of dog ate my homework, and there's no breakthroughs from it, and that would make sense if. Back in the day, the government, and they've done this in the past, they've made entire areas of science off limits, and they've taken over it, and so this could have been a complete psyop in string theory, and then the entire physics community is just being shelved, and maybe there's some black ops shit that's going on, and the physics is happening at the government, and we have some disclosures that need to come out in the physics realm. Like, I don't fucking know, but it's all tied to Epstein too. That craziest thing is that like that shit is all linked directly to Epstein. Like he had
probably for money funding, probably the funding, like how we funnel all the money, right?
But why? But why though? Why is he interested in the physics? Because it was gravity in particular, and then everybody's talking about gravity having to do with these UAPs, being able to have like a warp drive or sort of like manipulate gravity, like that could be tied to that tech as well. So like it all seems somehow connected to me in the sort of loose spider web. I just don't have enough data points to sort of tie that together. Also, it's completely opaque because we have no direct information. Like everything is proxied through, congressional hearings or some leak that comes out or somebody that makes some crazy ass claim. Like there's no way for us to validate this stuff. We're just guessing.
Right. And the thing is, we've got 3 data points. Real quick, we got 3 data points where we know statins and cholesterol are wrong, SSRIs and mental whatever wrong, and Alzheimer's medications wrong. Once they go off on a tangent, everybody funds it. Look, I'm telling you, if AI collapse, AI is a very house of cards thing. What was it? Nvidia just hit its numbers, and the owners or the head guy or the founders like, if we didn't reach our numbers, it would have probably collapsed the entire economy. Just FYI. And he's probably right, because where everything's being pumped into this channel that may not be correct. It's just where the focus is, and that's intentional in most cases, right?
Yeah, we got 7 companies that are the whole economy right now.
Yeah, that's
fucking
scary
crazy.
shit. Yeah. No, I mean, with the UAP thing, I think that there's definitely some psyop stuff going on. I think that there's a lot of misdirection, and I'm the guy who, like, I'll follow something until I learn and go, okay, I'm never all in on anything. I lean certain ways where I feel this, or I feel like this might be the thing. When it comes to this, I think that there's definitely a lot of misdirection. I think there's some truth to it. But the way it all ties to the physics, I mean, truthfully, it could be all symptoms of a simulation at the same time. Like, it could all be parts of that same thing that we're bumping up against the wall, like Truman in the boat at the end of Truman Show.
Yeah, that gets weird too, man. That's
trying to understand
the physics and the speed of light being the limitation. I mean, I don't know enough about it to speak on it educated, but there's enough that I've seen that makes me realize that it's definitely a possibility. That's the easiest way I could put it.
To speak about simulation, if I may, I'll share an event that I had that felt completely like someone had the joystick and was playing the controller. So I am driving down the road, and we have an HOV lane. So we're like 4 lanes plus like an HOV lane. We're in the last lane. We're the furthest lane over that's not the HOV lane, and it's the lightest drizzle. Not a big deal. It's Arizona. This truck is going a little faster than us, and I see it in the rearview mirror, and it's approaching HOV lane, and I get this flash. It's like crash. I just get this weird thing. I literally say to my girlfriend as I'm driving, I will say unconsciously, because I was like calm and relaxed, like it was in that zone driving, that you're kind of seeing the stripes of the road and you're just kind of like in that, like, kind of zoned out. You're not really knowing what you're doing. And I go, that guy's going to be trouble. I just said that guy's going to be trouble, whatever. Then, like, we're driving around, he goes ahead, and all of a sudden I get like an input to like let my foot off the gas and go a little slower and put my blinker on, and I move over 1 lane and move over another lane. And I flash again, and I see that truck literally coming across all the way over the lanes. In my head, I don't understand it. I literally am going I usually do 75. I'm down to like 60. We come around the bend, and there's an accident around the bend, and this guy locks up his brakes, literally comes all the way across and hits 3 lanes over. And I come to a slow stop, and I stop, and I look at my girlfriend. I go, are you okay? Like, everything. And she looks at me, she's like, yeah. And I'm like, that was all like external. Like, it felt so external versus internal thoughts. And I don't know if you guys have ever had experiences like that.
Not really. I don't have any of that. I've had a whole bunch of, like, we call them universe winks, it's like winking at you. There's some, especially after having my psychedelic experiences, like there's definitely something going on there.
Reassurances, like reinforcements, almost. Like,
It's
hey, yeah, you're on the right track or something.
yeah, it's just kind of like it's an acknowledgement that it's like a post-trip acknowledgement that it's actually real. Because I always have that, being a skeptic at heart. I'm kind of like, okay, I had this crazy ass experience, but I'm always like, yeah, well, I was taking drugs. Like, was this shit real? Was I really connecting with something, or is it just in my head? Is this all, some sort of neurobiological program that kicks off and we ingest this substance? I'm a little bit skeptical about it. I've had plenty of these that happen afterwards that it's like, nope, it's real. And here's an example right here. Pay attention. I have a bunch of those, but I don't have a whole lot of I don't have a lot of those either. It's just like, I'm not super spiritually connected when I'm just regular waking consciousness. I'm a super logical guy. Like I said, autistic as hell, pattern recognition all day long. I do engineering for a job. Like that's where I live. I live in the cerebral space. I don't live in an emotional space. I don't live in a spiritual space. That's just not that's not where I'm at.
Yeah, and just on that point, go ahead, Jake, if you want to read that from Rich.
Oh yeah, I mean, about precognition, do you think that's similar to like when you get a call from somebody you were thinking about, that kind of thing, or when you know, oh, I need to do whatever, and then all of a sudden you realize like, oh, that just happened.
Yeah, and Rich, I don't know if Brent, we had bad audio, unfortunately. I'll take accountability, even though I blame Riverside for some reason. But I shared a little bit of my experience. Jake, we'll probably talk more about it, but basically I have precognitive visions. My first vision, my actual first vision, was a shooting of Clement and Pinckney in South Carolina by Dylan. It's the craziest thing. I can't explain it. I'm still trying to understand. But to your point, Brent, it's like I'm a lucid guy who got hit with this. And it's like, that's even worse. It's like worse than not. Like, I'd rather not experience it and be able to see it from the outside. Because when I experience it, it's like that really messes with the logic center because it's not logical.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's a whole bunch of that stuff that happens, and it's just like I don't have it though. It's like I don't have that module. It's just I don't have it.
Totally
So I'm kind of like
that doesn't mean look, just because the simulation doesn't mean it's not real. I mean, the way I look at it is I think we emerge to certain sizes to possibly be able to have these simulation type things be created in some way. So
I don't have that either. I don't have that either, Brent. I wish I did. I don't have it, and
no, you don't.
Oh, I don't. So
no. Okay, maybe I shouldn't say that, but I'm interested, or I almost wish I could have that experience once. Maybe not to be able to not control it or whatever, but so back to what we were talking about earlier about the hardware and everybody, in my opinion, having the same stuff, and some people tap into things other people can't. Do you think that is that we all used to, everyone had that ability and we've evolved out of it? Or do you think we're evolving into it? Or do you think it's just because there's 8-9 billion people on the planet, there's enough variation in evolution that just some people sporadically get it? Like, where do you think that comes from?
That's exactly what I think. I think because evolution is random, right? So mutations are random. So we as we keep reproducing, you get a different set of dice. Everyone has a different configuration. I think evolution plays with things. It's like it's just all we are is experiments. You have this sort of core thing that's a human being, and it's like I'm going to tweak this dial over here. And I think people get different perceptual abilities. You've got a different ability set than everybody else, and I think the stuff that makes sense over time we keep, and things that don't help us reproduce we get rid of over time. But we're in a weird space now where not a lot of this is really like it was back in the day. Like it was so hyper important that you're not even going to reproduce unless you have these traits. Now it's like our science is so advanced. We're keeping alive so many people that would have just died back in the day without these medical advances. You know, so we're keeping everybody alive, and so all of these mutations I think are continuing on. And obviously our perceptual apparatus and requirements have changed. Like think about the way we're communicating now. We're over a fucking screen and the internet, and we're tweeting at each other. And like I think a lot of the way we're even interacting with other people is changing. And I think that's going to change the way we sort of interact with the world. And I don't know all of the different variants, but I'm positive that's what's happening under the covers, is like these evolutionary things are happening. I got this, you got that. It's somewhat different, and that's why I don't discount the weirdos anymore. I think I did for a while. I think
it's easy to, but yeah.
Well, because they make it so easy, you know. Like sometimes you look at these people on the HBO special, they're laying on the floor, they're putting their hand over their heart, and they're crying and writhing, and like, okay, you know, like. It's easy to.
I saw people speak in tongues at my church, and I knew they were full of shit. So there's enough people that are full of shit that when you see someone who's truly a weirdo, it's easy to write them off, I think.
It is, and this is what pisses me off about people that are dishonest, right? Because I think there's these real people having these real experiences, but I think there's also people that are doing some clout chasing. Like I want to, like the speaking in tongues in church. Like I want to be, I'm filled with the Holy Spirit. Look at me, I'm great. I think people want attention.
And I've experienced channeling too. And there's a difference between like the what you're talking about, Jake, and what feels authentic too, in a weird way. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, so it's so hard to tell because a lot of people are full of shit, but there's some people that are genuine. They've had these weird experiences. I feel bad for them because they don't want to come out and even say it because, like, everyone's going to judge me and think I'm fucking weird or like I'm lying or whatever. But I think there's a bunch of these just direct channel experiences that people have, and it probably confuses the hell out of the people that have them, and they don't even know who to turn to because like, who do I tell about this? It's not going to make fun of me. It's
Well,
it's
yeah, and
tough,
for
man.
every one of those people who genuinely have it, there's 100 Oz Perlmans or whatever that guy's name is.
Yeah.
Oz, yeah. Oz is good facial recognition. He's like Darren Brown, and that's an interesting one that you mentioned him because I watched DOAC with Oz, and I don't know why it's Oz and not Oz. It doesn't make sense. I think that's how he pronounces it. Anyway, he did a thing where he had the imaginary cards, and he actually got me to get the number correct. And I don't know how he got me to get the number correct, but I've seen other ones where I know where they're trying to get you. To your point, Brent, like Darren Brown will do one, like mention a character, like she's gonna say Mickey Mouse, so you better say Silver Surfer or something like that, like where it's like alliteration or whatever, and you know where they're going, and they go there because people are like, many of us are like that, right? But to your point, NLP, I went to see my NLP guy when I first talked about it, and to your point with the evolution, you've got all blue dots on the earth, right? All of a sudden a green dot shows up. Buddha disappears. Then another green dot shows up. Jesus disappears. Then a couple green dots show up. One disappear. 3 more show up. It's a slow evolution of that. And I think as we're evolving, these signals, all this technology is messing with these kids that are evolving to a weird point or in a weird way that we still don't understand yet. We can associate it with certain things that we do, poisoning them, but there is an evolution, there is a growth, and it's just how it happens. And I think, to your point, the highly sensitive, especially Brent, with the signals, 5G and just lights and everything gives off magnetic fields and everything. I can see these kids are just overwhelmed with sensations and just unable to function in some cases.
Yeah, and everybody's sick now. It's like, I don't know if you guys follow Dr. Jack Cruz, but boy, like his work on the non-native EMF and the full spectrum light and all of that stuff, endogenous light production, even like that is sort of cutting edge science, man. And there's so much with the blue light, right? Like, I think this is intentional. Like that's Jack's claim, is that the big tech companies want us staring at the blue light screens all day. Like it is a way to program people. It's a way to make people sick. And I think it's working, man. We have like the sickest generation we've had. We're starting to see life expectancy decline for the first time ever. It's a damn shame. And this is where like the hippie part of me that's done the mushrooms is like, we just need to get back out in nature. And that's what I'm planning right now. I'm trying to get my family to the off-grid compound, live out the rest of my days around nature and away from all the tech, because I think the tech is it's going to be our undoing as a species.
And so, Jake, to your point, real quick, if I may, I think you're right on. Back then, I think we were more connected because we had more nature. We didn't have the interference of these other things. So I think we were more in tune, at least, right? So I think we did. I don't think it atrophied as much as got interfered with or got like interrupted or blocked in a way.
I've been the guy in my family who's been trying to get everybody to go in on a 100-acre compound and build their house in the corner of this and have a community garden and community this and that. And everybody's always said I was crazy. And I'm like, it's good. The day's going to come when you're going to wish we would have done that.
That's exactly what we're doing, Jake, in Tennessee. That is exactly what we're doing.
We got to talk about that because I'm in, guys. Let's talk. Like,
I'm on the West Coast, and when I won't get into everything, but we have too much family here. I don't think I'll be leaving the West Coast just because if the shit hits the fan, I want to have family around, or I should say when. But I'm trying to
protect your family, obviously.
Trying to make my way through and navigate everything that's going on. But my question for Brent, going back to maybe I'm jumping around a lot, but going back to the atheism, then philosophy, and then now this kind of understanding of, I'm paraphrasing, maybe putting words in your mouth, but weaving all these ideas together. Where do you think, or what is your distilled take on what this is, what reality is, where we come from, and where we're heading? And maybe that's too ethereal to get into, but I'm curious to see how similar it is to mine and where you're at on it. So if you will.
Dude, I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like I have these experiences, and the experience, especially if you do very, very high doses of mushrooms, which I have, it's like this experience of oneness. And so I kind of have this sense that it's like the Carl Sagan view, like the universe is kind of like one thing, and we're all so like our individual consciousnesses are the universe perceiving itself. Like, but we're all actually one thing, and uh, that's kind of how I feel when I'm on it. And I've had this reaffirmed to me on DMT as well. Like I showed you the little pen I've got. It doesn't actually get me to break through, but I can get to a place where like that's the closest I've had to what I would call like a religious type of experience, where I became like, it's like when you close your eyes with DMT and like you're seeing all the patterns swirling and stuff.
Yeah.
I sort of merged with whatever the source is, like whatever God is, or what it's so hard to explain, but you kind of I became part of it, and it was swirling and it was colorful and there was sound and there was music, and I felt at peace, and so that feels like to me like whatever the universe is, like we're all part of that thing, and we'll probably return to that at some point, like and we're all
do you think
in my oh good Jay.
Do you think that when your physical body dies, that your whatever you want to call it, your soul, your energy goes back to that?
I kind of think so. Yeah,
that's how I feel. I feel like you're born of energy. The energy inhabits your
energy
shell,
and mass are connected. They're directly connected.
And when the shell is gone, the energy goes back into and to that oneness. I mean, I couldn't agree more. And again, I'm not trying to just ditto you, but I really think that a lot of the DMT experience was very similar to that for me, where, everything is connected on this. It's almost like the ending of Interstellar when he's coming through the bookcase. And
never seen that movie, so you lost me on that.
No,
one.
Okay, all right. Well, I recommend it. But everything's connected on this wavelength or this energy pulse that doesn't have a beginning, doesn't have an end. And I know people are going to say, well, yeah, well, that's God. And I think that God I don't
work. It's not what it is.
Badmouth any religion, but to me, God,
it's not intentional or something.
In the organized religion sense, is trying to make sense of that versus the other way around. I don't, people go, oh, well, if you believe in simulation theory, then you should believe in God. And it's like, well, first of all, I don't believe in it. I think it's a possibility, but I think that the Catholicism and every different type of organized religion is a shade or a flavor of somebody trying to explain that thing that we're talking about.
Yep. 100 million %. And including Islam. Have you seen some of the architecture in some of the mosques? Like the St. Petersburg mosque? Like you look at that and you instantly are like, oh, these people were tripping. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
So I
completely... that one that Rogan keeps referencing at the Vatican, you're going to probably see it, right?
I'm not going to the Vatican this time. I went to the Vatican last year. So this year we're coming back and going to try to do some other things in Rome.
Nice.
But
cool.
But it's so a lot of the religious architecture is very trippy. I was just saying religious architecture is. God damn it! Keep on talking over each other. I saw this in India too. So there was this place, there's like a Jain temple that we went to in India a couple of years ago, and same thing. I'm like walking through this, looking at all the architecture. I'm like, you guys are you've all been tripping. Every single culture is tripping their balls off, and then they have the experience and like, wow. And then some dickhead is like, I'm going to explain it, and I'm going to write down this doctrine, this sort of theology, and here's my mental model, and then I'm going to start killing people that don't believe the same way as me. It's like, I think it's all just a repetitive pattern, man.
It's like the more we know, the less we know.
That's for sure. Oh God, you ever want to feel like you know nothing? You have a very high dose psychedelic trip. You'll just be like, whoop, guess I don't know shit. And that helped me a lot because I was kind of a dick. I love to know things, man. Like a lot of my worth is tied up in, a lot of childhood trauma and me trying to prove that, the one thing I could always hold on to is I was smart and I could know things. And boy, you do a psychedelic trip of any sufficient dose and you're like, nope, I'm a dummy. I don't know shit. It is so humbling, and it's a good thing for people, I think.
It's so energizing though. It's so like, in a weird way, it like resets you in a way, and like gives you this power that you can't have from knowing all the things, and it reduces you down to this thing where you're like, I'm this speck in the universe, and then it's like you start over from that, and it's I don't know, it's highly empowering. I think, I hate that word, but it really is.
It is, and I think it's also one of the best things you can do to improve yourself too. Because I've never left a psychedelic trip in a state other than I feel more patient, more loving to my family and to other people, and more kind, more thinking globally about, like, trying to treat people better, trying to improve the world, trying to improve your office, your community. Like, that's all you think about. And that's, I've never seen anything like that. Like, you talk about drugs and everyone demonizes drugs, and for good reason sometimes, but those compounds, like, they're so beneficial. I can't believe that I just can't believe they're illegal. Like, that somebody is like, I'm going to actually murder you if you take this mushroom that grows naturally. That is like the most bizarre thing for me to even comprehend.
Prohibition ended. They needed something to do, so they had to transition it over to reefer madness. Then they had to criminalize all drugs in the 70s. Then they had to increase the incarceration by having the prison industrial complex grow. And then they had to ban the guns and make assault weapons. And they had to have 3 strikes for possession. That's how it works.
And I
It's
think
just
that's
another
the big
method of control.
Well, yeah, and I think
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Nixon was just like seeing that the psychedelic movement in particular was breaking down, like, because
Yeah.
the way you are in psychedelics, you
No,
start to see,
Vietnam. That's
Vietnam.
how they tainted all the druggies. That's why they made it ugly or dirty or whatever.
Exactly. It's a giant psyop. And what they were seeing was these people were like, hold on a second, I'm not going to fight your fucking war, you stupid politician. And people were getting more in touch with the earth and more in touch with the community. And sure, there's a bunch of fucking weirdos, and Timothy Leary wrecked a bunch of stuff. But I think it makes you think differently about things. And I think if everybody started thinking differently about things, that social control we talked about, that Pledge of Allegiance bullshit, and the sort of social conditioning we all got, like, that stuff would start to fall away. And we'd be all looking around like, why are we being shitty to each other? This is dumb. Like, and also it helps you address all your wounds too. I don't know if you all had that experience, but shit, stuff that I've struggled with for years. Sometimes on a trip, it'd just be like, hey, you're doing this thing over here, and it's because of this thing over here. Don't do that anymore. And it just like clicks in your head. You're like, oh shit, that totally makes sense. It's like, it's such a self-improvement hack, man. It's like just years of psychotherapy in a 12-hour setting or 6-hour setting, whichever you're taking, LSD or mushrooms. It's so beneficial. I still can't comprehend that shit is illegal.
Yeah. That's so interesting. And once again, I did want to share the path
I don't know how
progression
anything's
ahead.
illegal for an adult, but
Sorry, what's that, Jake?
You don't know anything's illegal for an adult? Yeah, pretty much, right? Wouldn't that be nice?
I don't know how anything's illegal for an adult. I mean, we could get into the liberty thing, but the quote, I was trying to pull it up, and I'm paraphrasing, but men prefer the safe harbors of whatever to the violent seas of liberty, and it's like safe harbors of tyranny. It's like, it's so true, because this, and I said this earlier, so I'm repeating myself, but it's like people get into this pattern where it's like I'll say we as the collective, but we get so safe and so comfortable in this, the predictable, the known, the routines, the patterns, that
law and order,
the thought of
and
the
all
thought
that
of
good stuff.
True liberty, and the thought of like true existence and the unknown every day coming is scary to people. And at first, like, initial knee jerk, yeah, it's a scary thought, but if I sit and marinate in it for 3 seconds, I long for that. Like, maybe I don't make it. Maybe I get, taken out by whatever, but maybe I do. And the opportunity or the chance to do it is what I wish we had.
Be nice. It would be real nice, because like this whole thing is crazy how we're coming back to this community thing and a little closer and subsidiarity, because it's gotten to the point where, let government take the responsibility off your hands, and people really like that. They like having their belly rubbed while they're being put in a cage.
That's the
It's the
cheese in the
strangest thing.
mousetrap, homie. That is the
Yeah,
cheese in the mousetrap.
It's crazy. And you watch this, and the problem with your school of thought, Jake, is that it requires personal accountability and responsibility, and actually conflict resolution that doesn't, that actually is productive, and not just shouting into the win.
I mean, I've said this multiple times, but my MAGA is make accountability great again, and I really think that I think that accountability would solve 90% of our problems in this whole world. Just holding people accountable and unwavering, unequivocally, regardless of who you are, the same accountability for everybody. I think that would it would flip the table and start everything over again where it needs to be. But maybe that's my old man showing.
No, man, that's what I've always said about how we fix society. It can't be through political action. I'm not a political action guy. I think I think the political apparatus that we've erected is a consequence of us being shittier and shittier people over time. And yeah, you're right. You're right, Jake. Like a lot of this is like, well, I want safety. Just take care, whatever. Just take my rights. Just I don't care about it. Just make me safe. And eventually, you find out that that's a way less safe position if you keep giving the government all your rights. Like eventually, when that mousetrap slaps shut, you're like, oh shit. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have traded my own personal responsibility and that dangerous liberty for this perceived safety of the government. Because when that shit finally comes down, it's violent and it is sudden and it comes with a whole lot of pain.
And your skills are dull. You have no skills by that point either.
Exactly. Yeah, they love us fat and sick and weak and ineffectual.
You're going to have to share your coordinates offline with me for your compound, because when it all goes down, I'm coming to visit.
Well, I got a waiting list, man.
We'll build that compound after all.
Oh,
that's crazy. Well, let's talk about that political part, because it's interesting. We're having Rob Yates on, and he just announced that he's going to run for and he's going to run for LNC chair. Now, I just have to take a step back. Rob, I don't know you personally. We've never actually spoken. We've chatted very briefly on messages. You are too smart to get involved in the politics. What are you doing? I just wanted your thoughts on that, Brent, before we continue. And you too, Jake, obviously, because I think you like some of the political action stuff, obviously, with the groups that we're involved in and everybody.
I don't know what Rob's doing, man. I love the dude, and he's a great communicator. Like, he's probably the best messaging person I know. I haven't talked to him what his plans are, but I don't really care. Like, I think that the political action, like I said, it's a nowhere road. I think there's some ability to educate some people, maybe get some, talk to people about some principles, offer an alternative. I think that's a good thing. You probably see me on Twitter all the time. Like, one of the things that I do, that's not just talking shit. What I'll do oftentimes is I will try to drive a lesson home by me talking shit. I'll call the ball, like, wait, events like, hey guys, this is really, hey, you can't print all this money. You can't fucking run up all this debt. This is really bad. Hey, Donald Trump's full of shit. He said, I'm not actually going to cut this. Doge is bullshit. And I try to be loud about it and kind of be annoying, because I mean, if you just have like this very kind, placid tweet, no one's going to remember that shit. But if you kind of poke people a little bit so they get mad at you and sort of like tweet back at you, you can circle back in a year and be like, hey, remember when I was right about this thing? And it's not like self-aggrandizing, but it's like, how did I know? I want to teach people, like, okay, how did I know this was coming? Because I think more people have the ability to see the bigger picture, understand the games that are at play. Then maybe we can offer an alternative. So maybe that's what the LP can do. We're getting to the end. The United States is about at the end. It's going to have to default on the dollar. Something's going to have to come next. I mean, it's like, motherfucker, do you want a central bank digital currency? Do you want a social credit score? Do you want, or do you maybe want to, put down this fake belief that you have safety in government and maybe adopt some personal responsibility, maybe go a different way? I think maybe that's what Rob's doing. I hope that's what he's doing, because otherwise it's just a whole lot of wasted time and effort and money. I've seen people completely crash out in the Libertarian Party with fighting and suing each other and all this fucking crazy shit. I generally don't want anything to do with any of that. I hate drama generally, and I certainly hate drama over a politician or some political action. Like, I don't give a fuck about any of it.
I don't know, Rob, and I've just recently followed him, watching Free's game and kind of seeing what he did in North Carolina, trying to run for mayor of Charlotte. There's a part of me that I'm right there with you too, Brent, on like, we're getting to the end. Like, at a certain point, like, all right, well, now what? Now what do we try? And I feel like, if I'm projecting a little bit, there's this part of Rob that knows better, but also there's that part of like, well, maybe we can actually vote our way out of this or try to. And I think there's a hope where there's not a reality, I guess. And I think that the ultimate is it's going to come to an end. We're going to have to default at a certain point. When we default, being as of now, at least the richest country, what then? Where do we go for there?
We're the richest country.
Well, the wealthiest country as far as populace. I mean, I know that what is it? Not Singapore. There's another country that I like per capita, everybody's more wealthy, but I just mean like one of the wealthiest countries. If we default, everything's tied together. I mean, and I'm a moron. I'm a layperson.
Right. We're the wealthiest because we are the dollar. The US dollar is a standard.
If we
That's
default,
the only reason that makes it
everybody
right.
defaults. And if everybody defaults, then what? Are we back to caves and sticks? Are we just, hey, money's not real anymore? Now we're back to like bartering for it. Like where do we go? So I digress, but I'm hopeful for Rob. From what I've seen, you're all right. He's an amazing communicator. I genuinely hope he's successful in this. And I've recently just become more politically aware since COVID. So I have no problem admitting that I'm kind of late to the party here on a lot of these things and trying to get up to speed on really what's behind the curtain. And I feel like I have at least I got my sea leg, but by no means am I a master sailor. So
a couple things on that. It's like, to your point, Brent, is like how you do it is you make a prediction and you see if it comes true. That's how you know your pattern recognition is right. Is Zelensky going to become a dictator? Yeah. Hey guys, do you know that Zelensky's going to eventually become a dictator that they're going to have to remove, similar to like Emmanuel Noriega, like we did? Something like that. Not, not 100%, but something like that. Just like we created all these other world leaders to depose all these other places. The leader of Syria is an Al-Qaeda member, ladies and gentlemen, and was in the White House. A spy, a treasonous motherfucking spy. 35. Mike Huckabee, he's at the White House. God damn it, I can't do this shit anymore. It's like the chickens are coming home to roost, and what sucks is out of this will come greatness, and we're coming out of greatness, but that transition is what I don't really want to be a part of. I'm sorry. That's the real shitty part where it's not going to be fun. I like the 90s, man. I thought that was kind of the peak of our civilization because we had not overfunded our wars yet. Just hadn't gotten there yet. We just hadn't overspent. And that's literally where
it's coming, whether you want to be here for it or not. It's coming.
I know. It's coming.
Do you remember what the national debt was when Obama took office?
Wasn't it under 20?
It was like it was like under 6. It was like 5.7.
Yeah. Yeah. Remember the first trillion was Reagan, 84, 83 or something. And we're 37 more. And to your point, Brent, what was it? 25% of the total is under Trump.
Not quite yet, but almost.
Remember the fiscal conservative MAGA, America first, make America great again. You know, how many hundreds of billions to Ukraine and how many hundreds of billions to Israel. Oh, by the way, Israel, remember, as we're talking about all this stuff going down, not only do they want to make it more money per year, but they want to double the 10-year lease that we already have with them. They want to make it a 20-year. Listen up, people.
The tariffs are
being bamboozled.
They're not. Just don't call them taxes, Jake. They're definitely not taxes.
No, the tariffs are going to take care of. Remember, no income taxes. We're going to impose tariffs. That's all a bait and switch, and that's
for that. Yeah. Right before the election. Well, hey, that 40 billion worked for Argentina's election, right? So it might as well work for Trump in 26, but it won't. It's not good times.
It's not good. It's not looking good for the Republicans, man. Like, I don't know if you've been paying attention. I've been tweeting a little bit about this sort of Tennessee 7th district race that's getting all this, Tim Burchett was retweeting it. Donald Trump was, like, all the Trump proxies are retweeting. I'm like, it's a county like right next to me in Tennessee. It's like a nobody seat, but they're fighting tooth and nail. And they've got some like crazy leftist lady, and this Republican can't even like keep up. Like they're neck and neck in what should be a very, very red area of my state. And this crazy leftist is probably going to beat the Republican. Like, Republicans are not popular anywhere. This MAGA thing, this Trumpism, this Republican brand is fucking dead. And what's so crazy is that he just snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. He in 10 months, he took the most momentum I've seen politically in probably my lifetime. This mandate, we're going to slash, and I knew it was bullshit, but I'm like, riding high, he could have done anything. He literally could have started cut spending. He could have started going after Medicare and Social Security, the third rail of politics. He could have done anything. And it was like, nope, we're going to
he just torpedoed his own ship on purpose.
Yeah.
And
It's
speaking
like,
of prediction,
completely captive, completely bought and paid for. And I hate to reference Clint, but it's like everything Clint's talking about as far as the compromise, I mean, it's also spot on. And it's like to sit and watch this, and watch it unfold. It's like there's this feeling of helplessness, but then it's mixed with anger and frustration, and like, where does it go from here? And then I go back to the like, all right, I'm going to do the Brent, and I'm going to just take care of my family and worry about myself and make sure I'm able to survive this, because truly that's where I don't know if it's tomorrow. I don't know if it's 10 years from now, but it's going to be in my lifetime.
Yeah, it's coming.
So
Coming soon, man. Like we are running out of monetary rope. Are you paying attention to the economic signals that are flashing right now? It is bad out there. My God.
Yeah, and what are they going to do?
Apple just laid
the
off
last
some
few
people.
times this happens, they just print more money. So what happens this time? Everything defaults.
Well, that's what they're doing. They're going to print that
crashes.
$2,000 check.
You're going to print more money, and then it's just going to speed it up.
And that's what we're getting to. We're getting a logarithmic curve right now. And the more debt
It's called
you
behind
add,
the power curve, everybody. The more power you add, the less altitude you gain, and the more altitude you lose.
You got it, man. The more debt you add, the more interest you have to pay on that debt. And ironically, the higher rate of interest when you try to issue your debt, your bonds that are on the market, like the people that buy your debt are going to be like, motherfucker, you're inflating the shit out of your currency. Why am I going to buy a 10-year note from you when you pay me back, if you pay me back in 10 years, it's going to be worth pennies on the dollar. Go fuck yourself. Give me a higher interest rate. And then that compounds the rate of interest you have to pay. It's just a debt spiral. Like this is fucking Zimbabwe, man. It's over. We're a banana republic.
So
no, you're
so
not
this
wrong,
this is
man.
an interesting thing. We talk about predictions, right? It's like my first hint of the woke right happened when I'll just use names because I haven't met the person. I love to have a conversation. Tim Pool in October was gonna go to the Daily Wire. There was like this little hint that he was gonna switch over to the Daily Wire or something.
Really? I didn't hear that.
He had like one podcast about like quitting or something or moving, and then this whole thing blew up, and then he didn't. And then that was the first inkling for me. And then I'm like, something's up here. We had this left movement, and all of a sudden we're getting these victims on this other side. There's this other woke, like a woke right. I go to AmFest, and like you talk vibes, it was so palpably shifted in that room that the pendulum had completely swung through that middle where we were and just like almost snapped off the end. Like the whole vibe of the air, everybody who spoke was just wave after wave of this like focused energy towards one thing. And we all kind of know now what it is, but it was crazy. And that's where this whole woke right thing for me broke. And then other people like Clint were being, Dave Smith being accused of this woke right thing. And you're like, what is, and you're like, there's the propaganda. There's the propaganda again. Just your thoughts on how they try to twist that and how that just didn't stick this time.
I don't know, man. I think that it's so painfully obvious that the United States is just completely bought and sold by a foreign government. Like it's undeniable now. And I think the woke right is a real thing, because I'm a fan of Jim Lindsay's earlier work. I think I've had Helen Pluckrose on the show, and those two collaborated on a book together. And he's smart,
brilliant,
brilliant. He's got this glossary of woke terms, essentially, of critical social justice terms. And there are people on the right that deploy similar tactics as the woke left do. It's critical social justice, just applied differently by different group. But I think Jim has gone off the rails and looped in a whole bunch of other people onto, and no, it's not Cutter. looped a whole bunch of other people in that dragnet, and he's trying to accuse people. Basically, anyone who says anything about Israel now is kind of becoming a woke right stand as far as Jim goes. So I don't know, man. Like I hate that's why I hate the sort of personal aspect of being like, even in my level of podcasting. Like, I hate everyone sniping each other and fighting each other. It seems like there's a currency now. You get like Dave and Liquid Zulu that are going to have this beef back and forth. And it's like, guys, like, that's not fucking productive at all. I really hate that aspect of it. And I really wish we could
but
focus.
Lindsay lied to my face. I asked him a question and he fucking lied, and I don't care. And then when I called him out personally, he fucking was a little weasel and was like cool to my face. And then he switched again, and then he switched again, then he switched again. So you want to talk authenticity? I just don't find him to be authentic, to be honest. And I get
he seems like he's trolling now too. Do you see that shit where he went to Israel on that big tour? He's tweeting about it all the time. He's going to the wall, and he clearly
but he's getting paid for that too.
And that's
let's not kid ourselves. He's getting cash money for that.
He is.
You get a
and
little
every
taste
time,
of that, it's hard to give it up.
And every time he stokes a controversy, I think this is one of the big problems with X right now, is you get paid for engagement. And so if you say some crazy shit and a bunch of people, I mean, you get ratioed to the gills and a bunch of people comment on your shit, you still get that Twitter check no matter what. I think it's a real fucking problem. I think we got this crisis of fake engagement. You don't really know where people really stand anymore. People say shit for all sorts of reasons. People are directly being paid $7,000 per post, allegedly. There's other people that do it for the engagement, and like the Gunther Engelmans of the world that I don't think they believe half the shit that they post.
Misfit Patriot. What a weirdo.
There's a bunch of people that do that, and it's discouraging, because I try to, you know me, I try to be an honest broker. I try to say exactly what I think. I don't mince words, and it's frustrating when you're not engaging on a level playing field in the public discourse area, man. It's just and I'm getting like skeptical now of a lot of people that I see. I'm like, are you getting paid by somebody? Are you? Because there's some people are obviously the Benny Johnsons of the world. There's people that are just legitimately, regime apologists, and they're getting paid for it. Cool, fine, get your bag, dude, whatever. But it makes it difficult to understand who's an honest broker and who's not out in the world. And that's a very frustrating aspect of being on Twitter now.
And I think James, that's the thing. James Lindsay's work, I will say, brilliant with Pluck Rose, and I'd love to have a conversation with her as well. And Bogosian, there's a great documentary, and I keep forgetting is it the Australian director?
Oh yeah, I think he's Australian. I think it was something called the Heretics or something like that. I think it's the name of it or something.
And it's brilliant, and it's absolutely brilliant. But the thing is, we talk authenticity, and like it's beyond trolling in that respect to me and certain people that we meet. So it's like, to your point, I found you so genuine when we crossed paths. It's like I just knew somehow, I don't know why or how, but it was like that just was a click. It's like you're gonna just come at me straight. And I just don't get that from so many people. And that's what's more disheartening. Not what side they choose or that, but that they troll like that. And it's just disingenuous,
Yeah, I think people get into it for the wrong reasons. I think there's a lot of people in the podcasting space because they think they're going to be the next Rogan. And I want to get a sponsorship and I want to make money. It's like, I got plenty of money. Like, I do really well in tech. That's not why I'm here. I want to get out of tech, and I want to do this because I love doing it. I want to do this because I want to be a positive force in the world. I want to be part of the conversation, part of the solution, trying to improve the world, right? And I think there's a lot of people that just aren't like that. They want their clicks, they want their ad revenue, and that's kind of gross to me. I at some point want to monetize this. I want to do this for a living. And God, I hope I don't get captured, because it seems like it's pretty fucking easy. I think there's some people that do go into it with the right intentions, and over time they get corrupted. The money starts beckoning. It's like, oh, if I say this thing over here, I'm going to get twice as many, clicks or views or engagement or whatever. Like, I think that's toxic, man. I really hope I don't get sucked into that. So guys, if I start being a dick online or like being disingenuous or something, slap me.
I'm a dick, but I'm not. I'll be genuine. I promise. But the thing is, like, I hope we never get big if it leads to that, if it leads to some kind of corruption where you just don't get to do what we want, because we're just about messages, ideas, the exchange of ideas. Let's disagree. Show me where you think show me I'm cool. I can accept your idea and still disagree or agree, all that good stuff. it would be refreshing to see that.
Oh, fuck,
Liberty
scientific.
Scientific is Scientific's in town. Welcome.
There we
Oh,
go.
It is.
Now it's a party.
Now it's
Well,
definitely
let's-
party.
Wir sind
let's
sehr
try and-
deutsch, ja, Scientific. Wer kann Deutsch sprechen? Ich kann die Braunschweiger Leberwurst. Ich bring das zu dein Haus. Ja?
Let's try and land this plane. I think, I don't know, at least for me, I've always been able to find solace or find motivation or find whatever in music. I don't know if you're familiar with Shooter Jennings, Waylon's kid.
I'm not. I've heard the name, but I've never heard any of the music.
He's country, but he's not country. There's some other stuff he's done she's done some far out stuff. But I will say this: there's an album that he did, I'm gonna say 10 years ago, but it's probably 15 now, called Black Ribbons, and he did this weird kind of concept album where he asked Stephen King to do a voiceover for him. They never met. Stephen did it in the studio for him, but it is very much a what's coming next album. Like what we're talking about, how this thing's all winding down, it's coming to an end. It's all about police state. It's all about, I don't want to use the F word, but it's all about the control from the government. I highly recommend listen to Black Ribbons cover to cover. Trying to wrap this up on a happy note at some way. But
don't worry, I've got a
really,
final question for you guys that'll be a happy note. So continue. Be as down as you want. I promise.
the last thing I'm going to say is I genuinely think, and I'm not trying to blow some sunshine up anybody's ass, but I really think that the thing that is going to get at least the like-minded people through this are these conversations. And even if nothing is solved with it, the solution is in the discussion, and the solution is in the talking about it and realizing that you're not the only person that feels this way, and finding someone to bounce. Even if someone tells you your idea is retarded and you're okay, I'm stupid. Just having that discourse and having that ability to go back and forth in good faith with respectful people, it, to me, is what it's all about. So I really appreciate it, and that's why I'm getting back into doing this again. So that's my last 2 cents.
I'm
Here,
so
here.
glad that you are doing this, man. I'm so glad that we're doing this together. Like I said, when Free connected us, I'm like, let's just do it. There's no forget this trial thing. We're gonna do it. When we stop doing it, we stop doing it. We do other things, we add things. That's how it works, man. So I'm so blessed that you came, that we crossed this path. Brent, same thing with you. It's just like, this is just like a weird kismet kind of thing. So this is where let's leave it at this. It's Thanksgiving. It's Thanksgiving Eve. What is your white pill, Jake? And then I want Brent to close it, and I'll share mine at the end. But Brent, Jake, what is your white pill? What is the thankful thing? What do you think is going to get you through this to the next thing?
I hate to be sappy, but I'm telling you right now, it's my family, and it's the people that I keep close to me. It's going to be, no matter what goes down, no matter what happens, if you're alone when shit goes down, that's game over. If you might be able to be some Sisu like warlord or whatever, but if you have your family, you have people that you love and people that genuinely hold you accountable, I mean, that's everything, man. And that's the currency. And it took me 3 times to find it, but I have the most amazing wife, and I have the most amazing support system. And it's taken a lot of curation to be able to get to that point, because you got to weed out the bad shit. But that's my white pill. That's what's going to get me through.
Cool. What about you, Brent?
Is that you can just do things, man. Like, I spent a lot of time. It's weird because I knew this shit was coming. I knew that it was going to end poorly, and I had my career in tech, which has been great to me financially. But as I'm thinking through this, it just dawned on me one day. It's like, okay, people aren't going to change your mind. Like, I mean, we'll keep making the arguments, but I don't think in mass people are. It's going to take the crash for people to do anything, and it might even end up being worse than it is now as a result. But I'm just like, you can just do things. Like, the agorists are right. Like, fuck, you just free yourself. Like go out, get you some land, build yourself a cabin, maybe lower your standard of living. Get some solar, get a well, get a septic system. Like you can just do this. Nobody's stopping you, and you can pay it off. You can live a frugal life. You can not have a car payment. You can just learn how to self-sustain. Make sure that you have your skills up. Know how to hunt, know how to fish, know how to garden, stock up some food. Like you could just, nobody's stopping you from doing this. And when you do that, you free yourself and then worry about everybody else later. You can still argue on Twitter while you're doing this shit. But the biggest white pill ever is that like nobody's going to stop you from doing this. Like you can just fucking do it today. And if you spent half the time that you spent kvetching about politics and worrying about shit that's going on in Washington, D.C. or your state capital or whatever, if you invested half that time into giving yourself a plan to free yourself and your family, dude, you'd be infinitely better off. And like, if everybody just did this, or you know, a large segment of people did this, like, God, can you think how much better off we'd be?
I think that's beautiful. I'd love to share mine if I may. So it's been pretty dark pill for me lately. I haven't shared some of the visions, but I'm happy to share them some point. We'll talk about them. But I have a love. Now I'm not a marriage guy, but we're 7+ years together. I'm with her. She's with me. I'm in love. We love each other. Great. But we just got an 11-month baby boy, and his name is Craig, just like from Friday. And I got to admit, when I see this little dog look up at me, it's a golden, mainly golden with a little lab, like a lab head with golden body. And he looks up at me and he just sits and he just kind of gives me that. I don't melt very often, man, but man, I'm not a pet person, but like something, maybe it's my age, maybe it's just what I've gone through, but it's like, there's a connection there that I feel that I've not felt with an animal before. And I got to say, it's kind of a cool feeling. So I'm grateful for that. So also this little logo right here, this is Vintage Iron. These are the guys who work on my car, my old car. Vintage Iron. Jake and I are talking about doing a podcast, maybe call it the VIP Vintage Iron Podcast, something like that. But we, if you like cars, Brent, we can get you on there. We're going to do like a group thing. I'm going to podcast out of their shop, and Jake's going to.
I like cars. I know jack shit about them.
Sure. Well, then you can watch it, man. but
you want me on that
Jake's
show.
like a car guy too. So I'm real excited about that. So guys, we're coming up on it. You guys have any final words before we call it a day? And thank you so much, Jason, for the super chat or the Rumble chat thing. And we're more than grateful. And thank you so much for joining us.
I just want to say thanks to Brent. I haven't gotten to know you, but this last couple hours really I've seen your posts and I've kind of followed what you've been doing. And obviously I bought some clothes from your company because I think you have some good designs and I like what you stand for. But it's important to meet like-minded people, and I don't want to bro down too much, but I respect you and I appreciate where you're coming from. And I think we're going to have lots more productive conversations in the future.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. It's been a pleasure meeting both of you for sure. And thank you, Jake, for buying some clothing. So I want to shout out again because Narco Syndicate narcosyndicate.com. The store is open and we have the promotion going on right now with Maj Touré. So 100% of the profits from everything that's Black Guns Matter and Solutionary merchandise is going directly to the Solutionary Center. It's going to benefit Maj directly. It's a great cause. I donate to him regularly. Love that dude. He's one of those people that is, like I said, just doing things. He's just out there doing great work in the community, working so hard, grinding 24/7. Love that dude. So if anybody wants to go pick something up, I would recommend that, man, because he certainly is getting very close to purchasing the building for the Solutionary Center, doing great work. So otherwise, check out the other designs if you want to buy something else there. Certainly appreciate it. It's all Liberty themed merchandise. As I said, we make clothing for people who hate the government. So if you hate the government, maybe pick something up.
Right on.
That's awesome, man. And your socials again, if you just can share all that again before we call it.
Yeah, it's at B Gets Better. It's up in the screen right there, and at Anarcho SCC on Twitter as well for the clothing company. Cool. And obviously, Aiming Up Podcast, YouTube, Spotify, whatever you can find us.
Those clothes are dope too. I wasn't just buying them just to buy them. Like that's some good shit. I really like it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I put a lot of effort into those designs, man. It's something I really enjoy doing. I try to have some meaning behind it and also have it be a little bit different than some of the other Liberty themed clothing that's out there. It's more punk, more biker, more, kind of edgier type of design. So,
well, as a fat guy, I've got a closet full of black t-shirts, but those are going to be right up front. So
awesome.
And we're going to definitely work on collaboration.
Wrong side.
Yeah. I bought that one.
There we go. There it is. Oh, let me see. Hold on. Let me see if I can get you in there. There you go. Show it again. All right.
It's good
Let me
stuff,
see.
man.
We had the 3. How do we do the 3? I don't even know how to do. There we go. All right, guys. All right. Well, thank you again, everyone, for checking in. This has been awesome. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. We're going to talk AI with Rob Yates. We'll definitely talk consciousness and AI on December 9th. Jake, you are certainly welcome to jump in on that one as well if you want to talk it. But everyone, thank you. It's been another If by Whiskey. We got so much other stuff coming up. I feel it growing, guys. I feel like we're all gonna like rise. Our ships are gonna rise very similarly. So thank you again, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Have a great day. Happy Thanksgiving. Take